No, it's not gonna work. This is the only plant I own now, by the way. One of my goals last year was to grow my own food. I killed every single plant, so this year I've resigned myself to learning how to fish and hunt. But the reason all my plants died is because I didn't sing to them. I didn't tell them I loved them. It definitely had nothing to do with the fact that I overwatered them and they started to grow mushrooms. In all seriousness, saying nice things to your plants might help them grow, according to science. We rise up from the dust and clean my throat. Hello and welcome. Yes. To Idea Sex. Are we taking analytical lens? I don't know what I'm on today.
You're not supposed to be in the catnip like that!
Nothing, just life. Welcome to Idea Sex, where we take an analytical lens to mysticism, spirituality, the esoteric and phenomena not previously understood. My name is Kiara, the Mad Witch, and I'm so excited to be talking about another mind-matter interaction study done by the same scientist that we talked about in the last video. So if you missed the last video, I'll recap here. We looked at a study. It was a double-blind, placebo-controlled, randomized study, so that means highly formal, yes. And in this study, it was found that chocolate, blessed by holy people with good intentions, had significantly more positive impact on the moods of consumers than normal-ass chocolate. Interesting. In a similar vein, today we are looking at a study by the same researcher, Dr. Dean Radin. Insert photo here. He looks like a mage straight out of a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, doesn't he? I first saw him in What the Bleep, which is an infamous documentary, and I instantly knew he was a Pisces. For you non-woo-woo people out there, Pisces is the most psychic sign, allegedly, in the zodiac, and I'm really good at guessing people's sun and rising signs, and you can tell a Pisces often by their eyeballs, because they've got like these deep, enigmatic eyeballs. They also sometimes have like little nubby fish teeth, but I digress. I've never seen Dr. Radin's teeth, and that's not necessarily what I was saying, but I digress. If you can guess my sun or rising sign in the comments, 10 points to your Hogwarts house. I am unable to find the full study online. You have to request it from the scientists, and I don't want to bother them, so you have to request access to it or something, or like be a scientist or a researcher. I'm obviously not. I'm just an internet idiot, so I thought that I would link the synopsis down below, and then we'll take a look at the results because he wrote about them in Real Magic, which is an absolutely amazing book if you're at all interested in learning more about the reality of psychic phenomena, parapsychology, start here. So, to set the scene, Dr. Radin is invited by a professor, Yung-Jong Shiah, from the National Kaohsiung Normal University in Taiwan to run an experiment to see if blessed water would influence the growth of seeds. I just love that they're doing that at a place called the Normal University. Like, they would never let me in, first of all. Second of all, it's a normal university, but they're gonna have a bunch of monks chant positive affirmations into bowls of water. Bottles of water, whatever. Doesn't make it any less unnormal. So they use this flowering weed called a mouse ear cress, and they use this for a few reasons. One, its genome has been completely sequenced, and interestingly enough, the genes found in this plant closely resemble the genes that are suspected to play a role in human disease. And so this plant is often used in research around the genetics of human health. It also contains a photosensitive protein called cryptochrome, which sounds more like something out of a Marvel movie than a plant, but like, what the fuck would I know? And they write, of interest to us was the fact that cryptochrome is found in both plants and humans, and that there is evidence that cryptochrome has quantum properties. Among other things, the quantum nature of this protein is thought to account for cryptochrome's exquisite sensitivity to weak magnetic fields. Cryptochrome is found in the retina of certain birds, which apparently allows birds to literally see the Earth's magnetic lines of force. She has speculated that because this plant contains cryptochrome, it is a potential living quantum system. That is, it might act as a super sensitive target for use in an intention experiments. They used 3 variations of this seed. The first seed is called a wild type, and that is the kind they find in the wild. The second was a loss of function mutation, so it was a plant that was bred to be less receptive to blue light, and the third was a gain of function mutation, which if you paid attention to some of the stuff that came out of the Wuhan lab, you already know what that means. Except this time, instead of being scary and controversial and breeding viruses for greater pathogenicity and then lying about it, they just bred plants to respond better to light. Yay! Happy plants. So 24 bottles of water were purchased from a commercial water bottling plant in Taiwan. A third party randomly assigned them into either a blessed group or a normal-ass water group, and a few master monks came together and did the blessings. The blessing was this: the plant that absorbs this water will manifest optimal growth. In particular, it will have increased nutrition, energy, vigor, and well-being. It was again a strict double-blind design, so the people watering the plants had no idea what they were doing. Let me rephrase. Okay, I had no idea what I was doing when I was trying to water plants, which is why I killed them. Presumably these people knew how to water plants, but what I'm trying to say is they did not know the nature of the experiments. After the intentional treatment process, a third party who was blinded to the meaning of the labels A and B on the bottles was in charge of all the watering, seed germination, and measurement procedures. After all of the measurements were completed and analyzed, only then was the blinding code broken. 3 measurements were taken once the plants had germinated. So first was the amount of chlorophyll or green pigments in the plants. The other was the amount of anthocyanin, which is another kind of pigment in the plant. And the final one was the length of the stem of the seedling. Increased levels of chlorophyll and anthocyanin are known to be beneficial for human health, and a shorter stem length is associated with improved seed growth. Based on these properties, we predicted that seeds grown with blessed water would show increased levels of chlorophyll and anthocyanin and a shorter hypocyatal stem length as compared to seeds grown with the control water. And that is exactly what we observed. They repeated these studies 4 more times and found that over the 4 experiments, the difference in a seedling stem length was associated with odds against chance of 38 trillion to 1. Doesn't sound like chance. Significant increases in anthocyanin and chlorophyll were also observed in the gain of function mutations, the former with odds against chance of 33,000 to 1, and the latter at a more modest 20 to 1. This study showed that force of will produced objectively measurable changes in plant growth. Well, that's interesting, to think that human intention can affect physical reality. Yes, I have a few ideas as to what that means, but I'm curious. What do you think? I'd love to have idea sex with you in the comments. And in any case, thank you so much for joining me on Idea Sex today. Hail to the power and the sight. And until next time, I hope you stay very, very blessed. Oh boy. Anthocyan. I probably butchered that. Anthocyan, which makes it other colors. Shiva, don't use any of those where I sound like I don't know what I'm talking about. Thanks.